If others wanted to take it away without Su Jingxing dying, it was impossible unless they refined Blood Imprisonment Tower again. But Luo Ao clearly did not have this ability. He thought that since Su Jingxing was dead, he would target the Blood Imprisonment Tower and try to seize it. In the end, he couldn't even move it. Given Luo Ao's strength, it wouldn't be a problem to move it if it was an ownerless tower. However, he had never considered that Su Jingxing was still alive. The reason why he could not do anything to the Blood Imprisonment Tower was because of its mysterious. I don't believe this. With a low roar, Luo Ao came back to his senses. He pressed his hands on the outer wall of the Martial Sage Tower again and unleashed his full strength to push the tower. However, there was still no movement. No matter how Luo Ao erupted with strength, the Martial Sage Tower remained standing quietly on the ground. As time passed, Luo Ao went crazy. Ah! Ha ha ha, Luo Ao, I told you can't do it, but you refuse to admit it. How is it now? Have you gotten a taste of failure? Dongfang Pochu's essence soul laughed out loud when it saw this scene from afar. Bang! Bang! Two loud bangs struck Dongfang Pochu's essence soul. This caused Dongfang Pochu's essence soul to distort. It turned translucent and almost disappeared. How dare you get distracted while fighting us? You're courting death. The Wei Nation's martial sage and the Liang Nation's martial sage sneered and continued to pounce on Dongfang Pochu's essence soul, trying to completely kill it. It's not up to you to decide whether I die or not. Dongfang Pochu's essence soul gritted its teeth. Its face was pale as it held the kingdom-defending Jade Seal and continued to fight the two of them. Although Luo Ao was no longer involved, he had given the broken sword to the Wei Nation's martial sage and continued to restrain Dongfang Pochu's essence soul. Humph. The Liang Nation's martial sage shouted coldly, then we'll give it a try. With that, the three of them became engaged in the sky again. In front of the martial sage tower, Luo Ao roared indignantly. He attempted to move the martial sage tower in all kinds of ways, but it would not budge no matter what. Let's take a break first. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit appeared wearing the Thunder Dragon bone armor and stood behind Luo Ao. It said gently, it's not too late to move it later. Scram, I don't need your kindness. Luo Ao roared without looking back. As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly came to his senses. His body moved dozens of meters away and distanced himself from Su Jingxing's primordial spirit. Then, he stared at Su Jingxing's primordial spirit and his pupils constricted. Kong Xian. You're actually not dead. This scream was a little hoarse, but extremely sharp. It spread through the sky and into everyone's ears. When Dongfang Po's essence soul and company heard this, they immediately separated and turned to look in Luo Ao's direction. On the ground, everyone's hearts skipped a beat. They looked up at the familiar figure in front of the martial sage tower and their mouths slowly fell open. After a while. Martial Sage Kong. It's Martial Sage Kong. I called it. How could Martial Sage Kong be dead? This Luo Ao was just bluffing previously. How is it now? The unknown fellow has finally lured Martial Sage Kong out, right? Huh, that's great. Martial Sage Dongchu said that Martial Sage Kong was in seclusion. I didn't expect him to come out so quickly and to catch Luo Ao and company. Kill them, kill Luo Ao. How dare the people of the Jing Nation touch the Martial Sage Tower? They must be executed. The crowd was in an uproar and excited. The nervousness, indignation, and fear from before were instantly swept away. Everyone was sincerely excited. Everyone was cheering and shouting on the ground. On the other hand, the expressions of the Wei Nation's martial sage, the Liang Nation's martial sage, and Luo Ao were extremely ugly. Brother Luo, didn't you say that he was already dead? The Wei Nation's martial sage was the first to send a voice transmission to Luo Ao. He gritted his teeth and said, "What's going on now? Kong Xian is clearly still alive." "That's right. Kong Xian isn't dead. Sword Sage Pei is dead, but Kong Xian isn't dead at all. He has been tricking you, no, tricking everyone to see who will attack the Yu Nation after his fake death. D****, Kong Xian is too despicable." The Liang Nation's martial sage growled through a voice transmission. "Impossible, how is this possible, how is this possible?" Luo Ao ignored the two of them and only stared fixedly at Su Jingxing's primordial spirit, his eyes filled with disbelief. Master was clearly dead, and so was his physical body. Why was Kong Xian, who also died in battle in another world, an exception? Could it be that Kong Xian's physical body was not affected by the primordial spirit? Because he was wearing the Thunder Dragon bone armor, no one knew Kong Xian's true appearance. Naturally, they also did not know if it was his primordial spirit or physical body under the Thunder Dragon bone armor. But that was no longer important. Regardless of whether it was his primordial spirit or physical body under the Thunder Dragon bone armor contained, the fact that Kong Xian was alive was too shocking. Pei Donglai, Bai Zhankong, and the others had died on the continent of divine grace, but Kong Xian, who had gone with them, was still alive. There must be a conspiracy. Let's go. Many thoughts flashed through his mind. Luo Ao made a prompt decision and turned around to escape. His body turned illusory as he shuttled through the air. Kong Xian was too powerful. Whether it was his primordial spirit or physical body under the Thunder Dragon bone armor, Luo Ao didn't dare to take the gamble. The best solution was to retreat quickly. That was what he thought and did. He left straightforwardly, not giving the Wei Nation's martial sage and the Liang Nation's martial sage a chance to react. By the time the two of them realized it, Luo Ao had already disappeared from sight and was almost out of the Yu Nation's territory. We were having a nice chat. Why did he run away? Su Jingxing's primordial spirit shook its head and released its divine consciousness. It locked onto Luo Ao from a distance and imprisoned him before capturing him. B****. At this moment, the martial sages of the Wei and Liang nations cursed inwardly and were about to follow. Who? In a flash, another person appeared before them. It was Luo Ao who had escaped. He's back again. Martial Sage Luo. No, Sword Sage Luo, why are you running? Su Jingxing's primordial spirit smiled at Luo Ao and glanced at the two other martial sages. Don't tell me the two of you are also thinking of escaping. The bodies of the martial sages of the Wei and Liang nations stiffened as they trembled in response. No, no, we will never run. With that, one said in a trembling voice, we were wrong. We'll accept our punishment. If Martial Sage Kong has any orders, feel free to speak. Even if we die, we will definitely fulfill them. Will you be that nice? Su Jingxing's primordial spirit raised its eyebrows. In that case, kill Sword Sage Luo. What? Luo Ao, who was imprisoned and unable to move, felt his heart turn cold. He shouted, "You can't kill me. If I die, the Zheng Nation will be finished. Martial Sage Kong, I was wrong, I was really wrong. I shouldn't have been greedy. Martial Sage Kong, please forgive me. I'm willing to offer the Zheng Nation to you." At the end, Luo Ao seemed to have made up his mind. He said in a deep voice, "Yes, on behalf of the Zheng Nation, we are willing to join the Yu Nation. In the future, we'll follow the orders of Martial Sage Kong." Huh. The Wei Nation's martial sage and the Liang Nation's martial sage were stunned. Even Su Jingxing's primordial spirit was slightly surprised. Not to mention Dongfang Pochu's essence soul. It had yet to realize that Su Jingxing was really alive. The physical bodies of those who died on the continent of divine grace had died with them. Kong Xian, martial sage Kong, was still alive. In any case, being alive was ultimately a good thing. Swoosh! Dongfang Pochu's essence soul flashed and arrived in front of Su Jingxing. It bowed and said excitedly, "Greetings, Martial Sage Kong. It's great that you're still here." "I'm always here." Su Jingxing's primordial spirit glanced at Dongfang Pochu's essence soul and continued to look at Luo Ao. "Are you sure you want to offer the Jingxing?" "Yes." Luo Ao's expression was solemn as he said sincerely, "The citizens of the Jing nation have always wanted to join the U nation. I was selfish and suppressed them. Now, I know my mistake and am willing to repent. I hope that Martial Sage Kong will fulfill my wish and let the citizens of the Jing nation fulfill their dreams to join the U nation." This was wonderfully said. Even Su Jingxing's primordial spirit had to clap for him. The Wei nation's martial sage and the Liang nation's martial sage felt their teeth ache. They wished they could give Luo Ao 2 slaps. This son of AB*TCH actually betrayed his country to survive. The Wei nation's martial sage and the Liang nation's martial sage looked at each other and bowed in unison. They faced Su Jingxing's primordial spirit and shouted in unison. "The Wei nation is also willing to join the U nation. I hope Martial Sage Kong can fulfill our wish. The Liang nation is also willing to join the U nation. I hope Martial Sage Kong can fulfill our wish." Their voices were loud and clear, spreading through the sky and ground. When everyone heard this, their mouths fell open and their faces were blank. The Jing nation, the Liang nation, and the Wei nation are all joining the U nation. A martial sage personally betraying his country. Such a thing that had never happened before had actually happened. Moreover, 3 of them at once. 3 martial sages of 3 dynasties betrayed their nations together. No, this was more like begging the other party to take in their dynasty. Shocked. Stunned. Overjoyed. Excited. All right. Ha ha ha, this is great. The U nation has grown stronger again. What's so good about that? With the Jing nation, Liang nation, and Wei nation joining us, our wait to enter the Martial Sage Tower has been extended again. That's right. The addition of people from other countries will definitely increase the demand. We can't possibly not allow new martial artist spots, right? That doesn't matter, right? Those who come later will definitely get their turn later. Besides, we weren't the ones who begged them to join us. They came knocking on our door themselves. Alright, cut the crap. Martial Sage Kong has the final say in such a major matter. That's right, that's right. Martial Sage Kong hasn't agreed to take in the Jing nation, Wei nation, and Liang nation yet. It's useless no matter how much we complain now. On the ground, the crowd exploded into discussions. Midair. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit scanned Luo Ao, the Wei nation's martial sage, and the Liang nation's martial sage and asked strangely, "Are you sure? You're not joking?" "Yes, yes." Since they had already spoken, the Wei nation's martial sage and the Liang nation's martial sage went all out and responded sincerely. Actually, joining the U nation wasn't a bad idea. Given their abilities, they could at most reach the 9th class of the soul fixation realm. Even until death, they could never dream of getting a primordial spirit. However, if they become followers of Kong Xian, they might have a chance of obtaining a primordial spirit. After all, Kong Xian could even stay alive after challenging the continent of Divine Grace mainland, unlike Bai Zhankong, Pei Donglai, and the others. Such an existence definitely had special methods, not to mention that Kong Xian's realm had clearly exceeded the primordial spirit realm. As for their citizens, the treatment they received after joining the U nation would only be better. Of course, the benefits for a small portion of people would be reduced. But what did these people have to do with the martial sage of the Wei nation and the Liang nation? As long as most of the citizens were happy with the benefits, this act of theirs wouldn't be seen as betraying their nations. With this in mind, the martial sages of the Wei nation and Liang nation immediately felt relieved. Their originally aggrieved, helpless, and indignant feelings disappeared completely. We hope Martial Sage Kong can fulfill our wish. The martial sages of Wei and Liang bowed again. Alright, I agree. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit was naturally happy to accept such a good thing. What about you? Su Jingxing's primordial spirit looked at Luo Ao. Are you sure? The martial sages of the Wei and Liang nations who were now self-proclaimed new citizens of the Yu nation also looked at Luo Ao. Of course. Luo Ao's expression was solemn as he said in a deep voice, Martial Sage Kong is blessed with great merit and fortune. He is #1 in history. It is the Jing nation's citizens' blessing and honor to be able to become a citizen of the Yu nation. Is that so? Su Jingxing's primordial spirit smiled. Then I won't stand on ceremony. Martial Sage Dongfang, you heard it. The 3 martial sages are willing to give up their original identities and join the Yu nation to become a part of it. I'll have to trouble you to work with them during the merger process. Oh, okay, Dongfang Pochu's essence soul replied absent-mindedly. The change had happened too quickly, and he was in a daze. A moment ago, Luo Ao, the Wei nation's martial sage, and the Liang nation's martial sage were still ganging up on him to seize the martial sage tower. In the next moment, the trio had offered their respective dynasties and gave up the position of martial sage. They would all be on the same side in the future. Even though Dongfang Pochu had a lot of experience, he was still shocked by the huge change. He could already imagine how shocked the world would be when this news spread. And that was indeed the case. When the news of Luo Ao, the Wei nation's martial sage, and the Liang nation's martial sage merging with the Yu nation on behalf of the Jing nation, Wei nation, and Liang nation spread throughout the eastern continent through various channels, everyone was in an uproar. Martial Sage Kong is mighty, the Yu nation is awesome. Traitor. This is blatant betrayal. Luo Ao and the others should kill themselves to atone for their crimes. Ha ha ha, I'm so happy and excited. Ever since Martial Sage Kong became famous, the immigration criteria of the Yu nation have become extremely strict. I didn't expect that there's no need to emigrate anymore. I'll be a citizen of the Yu nation soon. That's right, that's right. I wanted to emigrate last year, but the dynasty wouldn't let me go. Great, I'll be a citizen of the new Yu nation soon. There must be a conspiracy. They were definitely threatened. The person above is from a major capital and faction of the 3 countries, right? Only people like you whose interests are affected would spout nonsense and come up with conspiracy theories. Hee, they're only clamoring online but don't dare to speak their names. These people with vested interests are anxious now. But, so what if they are? Ha! I'm so envious. Why won't the Su nation join the Yu nation? A citizen of the Yu nation here also wishes to join the Yu nation. A citizen of the Jing nation also wants to join the Yu nation. Other than a small group of people, everyone else was cheering. The people of the Jing nation, Wei nation, and Liang nation were especially excited. The people of the Yu, Su, and other dynasties were also very envious. The Yu nation was one of the safest and most well-liked countries in the eastern continent to begin with. After Kong Xian, Martial Sage Kong, fought and conquered everything, it became the strongest and best country in the world. Be it the other countries in the eastern continent, the western continent, or even the overseas islands, countless people yearned to join the Yu nation. After the martial sage tower appeared, the lower-level martial artists of the other countries were almost green with envy. They were already envious of the former New Chu. This time, the Jing nation, Wei nation, and Liang nation would be joining the Yu nation. How could the people of the other countries not be restless? In my opinion, Martial Sage Kong should just unify the eastern continent and everyone should join the Yu nation. I agree, I agree. I agree too. I agree. I agree. Absolutely. Since everyone wants to join the Yu nation, why don't we issue a joint petition in our respective countries and gather everyone to join the U-Nation? That's possible, but we won't be punished, right? What are you afraid of? The higher-ups will imprison one person, 2 people, 3 people. But when there are hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands, will the higher-ups dare to touch you? Yes, I'll gather everyone in the school now. Me too. The internet was in an uproar. And the same in reality. The Jing Nation, Su Nation, Yu Nation, Hong Nation. The people of the various dynasties in the eastern continent, starting from a few hundred people, quickly expanded to hundreds of thousands, millions, tens of millions. They jointly submitted a petition begging to join the U-Nation. The prime ministers, presidents, and imperial families of the various dynasties were instantly troubled. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit was originally unaware of this incident and did not pay attention to the foreign situation. It wasn't until Gong Juanlian, Wei Qingzhang, Shi Ke, and Yu Xiangtian came knocking on its door that it realized that the matter had swept through the entire eastern continent. Unify the eastern continent? Leaving only the U-Nation? After understanding the situation, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit asked in surprise, then what are your thoughts? Given the current situation, what we think is no longer important. Wei Qingzhang smiled bitterly and said, the country is in chaos. More than 70% of the people have requested to join the U-Nation. What can I, a martial sage, do? Of course I agree. Haha. Yu Xiangtian smiled and said, Old Wei, stop acting. We're all old acquaintances. No matter how good your acting is, no one will clap for you. Ahem. Wei Qingzhang coughed lightly and said irritably, how am I acting? These are my true feelings, okay? Alright, alright. Shi Ke raised his hand and glanced at him. He said seriously, our intention is the same as the people. We hope to join the U-Nation. That's right, Gong Juanlian echoed. Regardless of whether we admit it or not, the U-Nation is now a place that everyone in the world yearns for. Other than a small number of people, everyone else wants to join the U-Nation. Just because of the martial sage tower? Su Jingxing's primordial spirit raised its eyebrows. Su Jingxing was also aware that the blood imprisonment tower was called the martial sage tower. He didn't say anything and accepted it. Although the martial sage tower was quite capable, it took too long for so many people to take turns to enter. The martial sage tower is only one of the reasons. Yu Xiangtian said seriously, the fact is that everyone doesn't want war anymore, especially not against the U-Nation. Why not? The reason was simple. Kong Xian alone could subdue a country. Under such circumstances, what was the point of fighting? Joining the U-Nation directly and becoming one of their own would benefit them more. As for martial sages like Yu Xiangtian and Gong Juanlian, without the dynasty, the kingdom defending Jade Seal would be useless. From then on, they would lose the replenishment of the sage origin fruits. There was also a way to resolve this. Firstly, negotiate and come to an agreement on the distribution of the sage origin fruits with Dongfang Pochu from the very beginning. If the U-Nation really wished to unify the eastern continent, there was no reason for the sage origin fruits to be monopolized by Dongfang Pochu. Even Dongfang Pochu would not be able to keep all of them. The second was for everyone to join forces and charge into the void world to replenish their soul power from the void beasts and monsters. Soul power could be obtained from killing some void beasts and void world monsters. Su Jingxing had discovered this when his primordial spirit had just become a martial sage. However, the current situation was still beyond the primordial spirit's expectations. The martial sages of the other countries have also agreed. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit glanced at Yu Xiangtian, Shi Ke, Wei Qingzhang, and Gong Juanlian. Are the 4 of you representatives? Ahem, that's right. Wei Qingzhang coughed lightly and smiled. The martial sages of the other countries are a little embarrassed. They wanted the 4 of us to be the vanguard. After all, the four of us are quite familiar with you. Yu Xiangtian, Shike, and Gong Juanlian nodded in agreement. In that case. After receiving confirmation, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit pondered for a moment and said, in principle, I have no objections. That's great. I knew Martial Sage Kong would agree. We're really on the same side now. Yu Xiangtian, Shike, Gong Juanlian, and Wei Qingzhang laughed excitedly. Let me finish first. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit glanced at the four of them. The group quickly shut up and was ready to listen. I get what you guys mean. But there's one thing I want to tell everyone first. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit said seriously, it's about the void world. I will destroy it very soon. I will destroy all the void beasts and little monsters inside, not leaving a single one alive. What? Yu Xiangtian, Shike, Gong Juanlian, and Wei Qingzhang were all shocked. Martial Sage Kong, you mean, void annihilation? You can destroy the void world? Wei Qingzhang stuttered. Yu Xiangtian, Shike, and Gong Juanlian also looked at Su Jingxing's primordial spirit nervously. Yes. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit said calmly, the void world is extremely dangerous. If we don't destroy it, it will annex Earth stars sooner or later. At that time, everyone will die. The four martial sages were stunned on the spot. The impact of these two pieces of information was too great. That's right, too. Firstly, the void world would actually annex Earth star. Secondly, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit could destroy the void world alone. The void world had existed since ancient times. No one knew where the source was or how it appeared. They couldn't even go deep into it, let alone destroy it. But Su Jingxing's primordial spirit could actually destroy it. If the void world was destroyed, the void beasts and little monsters would naturally cease to exist. However, if the void world was really gone, this could be completely ignored. Unless Su Jingxing's primordial spirit lied to them. However, was there a need for Su Jingxing's primordial spirit to lie to them? If he really wanted to lie, he wouldn't have told them this shocking news. Silence. For a time, Shike, Wei Qingzhang, Gong Juanlian, and Yu Xiangtian fell silent. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit waited for a moment and said calmly, so, all of you have to think this through carefully. There's no need to consider anymore. Wei Qingzhang took a deep breath and said seriously, I can decide now. We will join the U-Nation, this decision will never change. Me too. Gong Juanlian smiled. Destroying the void is a good thing. Even if the countries are not being unified, I will still support it. Yes, the void world brings more threats than benefits, Yu Xiangtian said in a low voice. All right. Hearing this, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit made a decision. Then let's unify. From now on, there will only be one dynasty in the eastern continent, the U-Nation. As for how to approach it, you can discuss it with Dongfang. Don't worry, Martial Sage Kong. We're already in contact, Gong Juanlian said with a smile. Is that so? Su Jingxing's primordial spirit also smiled. In that case, even if I don't agree, you guys will secretly carry out the merger. That's right. Yu Xiangtian smiled and said, if Martial Sage Kong doesn't agree, we will take it slow in private. The primordial spirit was speechless. It seemed like these guys were determined to cozy up to him. With the unification of the eastern continent and all nations yielding to the U-Nation, the common people had many benefits. But what these martial sages wanted the most was to cozy up to Su Jingxing. After all, if they were really on the same side, as their boss, Su Jingxing had to act like one, right? If someone were to encounter any difficulties, there was no problem with discussing it with your boss, right? It shouldn't be a problem for the boss to give them some of the things that he doesn't want, right? In short, these invisible benefits were indispensable. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit knew this but was not against it. The benefits of unifying the eastern continent far exceeded the disadvantages. It was also a good thing for Earth Star if Yu Xiangtian, Shike, and the others become stronger. Hence, after Gong Juanlian, Wei Qingzhang, Shike, and Yu Xiangtian returned, they joined forces with the martial sages of the other countries to announce their merger into the U-Nation. Instantly, the world was in an uproar and countless people cheered. The people of the overseas islands and the western continent were envious and jealous. Due to the distance and geography, it was almost impossible for them to become citizens of the U-Nation. Naturally, they would not be able to enjoy the benefits of being a U-Nation citizen. The eastern continent was unified, and the upper echelons of the various countries and martial sages were busy. After Su Jingxing's primordial spirit publicly spoke once, it stopped paying attention to this event and focused on circulating the inner world to develop and strengthen it. Until one day, when Dongfang Pochu came knocking on his door nervously. "Are you saying that there are 3 forbidden areas in the eastern continent that are glowing?" Su Jingxing's primordial spirit asked in surprise after listening to Dongfang Pochu's essence soul. Dongfang Pochu's essence soul hurriedly came knocking on his door to inform Su Jingxing that he saw 3 perilous lands glowing and faintly releasing malice when he was looking down at the new U-Nation's territory in the Void World. It was extremely terrifying. This got Su Jingxing's primordial spirit curious. Yes. Dongfang Pochu's essence soul nodded and said solemnly, before this, such a thing had never happened. For example, although the Blood-Eye Cliff in the original New Chu Nation's territory would emit threats from time to time, as long as we don't get close to the area, we won't be affected. For some reason, the threat this time is many times stronger, and they're even glowing. After a pause, Dongfang Pochu's essence soul said in shame, "To be honest, Martial Sage Kong, these 3 perilous lands feel extremely dangerous to me now. If I were to go, I don't have any confidence that I can escape, so it's fine." Su Jingxing's primordial spirit raised its hand and said calmly, "Other than the last one, which I don't know about, I've long wanted to investigate the other 2 places thoroughly. It's just that I wasn't strong enough previously, so I delayed it. Since there's something abnormal now, I can make a trip there to check and find out." "Thank you, Martial Sage Kong." Dongfang Pochu's essence soul said gratefully, "Don't worry, Martial Sage Kong. I'll guard these 3 perilous lands well outside. There's no time to lose. I'll set off now. Stay guard in the Void World." Su Jingxing's primordial spirit stood up, turned illusory, and shuttled through the air. Seeing this, Dongfang Pochu's essence soul hurriedly soared into the sky and returned to the Void World to help keep an eye on things. Once the eastern continent was unified, the Void World territories of the various countries naturally had to be fused into one. And fusing the Void World into one was extremely beneficial to the newly unified eastern continent. That was why Su Jingxing's primordial spirit was in no hurry to destroy the Void World. Instead, it set the matter aside. Unexpectedly, it made a huge discovery. In the eastern continent, abnormalities suddenly appeared in 3 perilous lands. Dongfang Pochu's essence soul saw these 3 places from the Void World. They were the Blood-Eye Cliff in the former New Chu, the Black Flame Caves at the border of the U-Nation, and an unknown place at the border between the Kong Nation and the Su Nation in the north. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit was aware of the Blood-Eye Cliff and the Black Flame Caves. The former had been monitored through the divine light projection technique, and the latter had been personally visited by the Blood Doppelganger. Only the last unknown place was unheard of. But now, all 3 places were glowing, and a great sense of threat was leaking out. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit naturally had to take a look. Su Jingxing had also sensed the great terror of the Blood-Eye Cliff when he was monitoring it from a distance previously, but now, he no longer felt anything. The reason for this was simple. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit was in the seeking realm. The threat of the Blood-Eye Cliff was almost nothing like a threat to it. The Blood-Eye Cliff was the closest, so Su Jingxing's primordial spirit headed there first. Who? Stepping out of the void, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit arrived at the blood-colored cliff that he had been monitoring from afar. Half of it was on the surface, and the other half was underground. The blood-colored cliff also glowed under the sunlight. This glow was evident to the naked eye, but it was not the black and red glow described by Dongfang Pochu's essence soul. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit sensed the intense fluctuations inside. It was filled with malice, like the surging of the martial world, roaring and snarling. It was unknown if it was this intense previously. The current fluctuations had clearly reached a bottleneck, like a volcano about to erupt. It was a terrifying threat. Of course, to Su Jingxing's primordial spirit, it only felt a little chilly. Threats, terror. Non-existent. Swoosh. The divine consciousness was released to scan the entire cliff. Buzz. The primordial spirit's vision lit up as its divine consciousness manifestation entered a world filled with golden light. The golden path was dazzling. This was a huge world that was almost boundless. Only the large expanse of empty space behind Su Jingxing's primordial spirit divine consciousness was covered in marks that looked like broken glass. These cracks were very dense and were already on the verge of breaking apart. It remained unaffected only because Su Jingxing's primordial spirit divine consciousness manifestation entered. If it had been the primordial spirit, it would be shattered on the spot. As for the great terror that Dongfang Pochu's essence soul sensed, nothing was found. With the perception of Su Jingxing's essence soul divine consciousness, it did not discover anything. There was not a single living being in this huge world, not even soil. But it was strangely filled with bright golden light. These golden lights were everywhere. Everywhere. Suddenly, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit thought of something. Immediately, the divine consciousness manifestation remained in the golden light world while the primordial spirit in the outside world waved its hand and released its soul power to envelop the entire Blood-Eye Cliff. Above ground and underground, it was put into Su Jingxing's inner world entirely. In less than 3 seconds, a huge pit was left behind. In the void world, Dongfang Pochu's essence soul was immediately stunned. Disappeared. Gone. Gone. That terrifying threat disappeared just like that and was wiped out by martial sage Kong. Dongfang Pochu's essence soul's eyes widened in shock. On the ground. Su Jingxing's essence soul manifestation did not hesitate in the golden light world. It gathered its strength and shattered the cracked void. Whoosh! The sound of glass shattering echoed in its mind. The golden world collapsed and dissipated in the inner world. However, a large ball of golden light did not disappear. Instead, it moved up and down in the inner world like a living thing. At the same time, a voice sounded in the mind of Su Jingxing's primordial spirit. Ha ha ha, kid, thank you so much. How many years has it been? I can finally see the light of day again. I don't have to be trapped in the D*Ned demon sealing domain anymore. Ha ha ha. To celebrate and express my gratitude, I will devour you slower so that you can live for a few more years. Wait. What is this place? Why are there no suns, moons, or other stars? The voice suddenly became flustered and hysterical. Who are you? Were you the one who dragged me into this strange world? Tell me, was it you? Didn't you already guess it? Su Jingxing's primordial spirit condensed a doppelganger which appeared in the inner world. It looked at the dancing golden light and asked with interest, speaking of which, what are you? You clearly don't have a physical body or an energy body, but you have a consciousness and contain strong demonic nature. Are you a demonic creature? A glowing demonic creature? I am the ancestor of light. Not a random creature. Human, if you know what's good for you, let me leave this strange world. Otherwise, I'll definitely devour you and let your soul fall forever into the endless demon sea, never to reincarnate. The voice was filled with anger and hysteria. Ancestor of light. Just you. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit chuckled. If I'm not wrong, you're a light demon, a type of ancient demonic creature that devours darkness for a living. As long as there's light, you exist. Because you don't have a physical body or an energy body, you're extremely difficult to kill. Humph, since you already know, what are you waiting for? Let go of me. The light demon sneered coldly. Don't be anxious. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit continued, it's indeed very difficult to kill you. Previously, you were trapped in that realm. I believe it was done by an ancient mighty figure who sealed you inside. Without me, after so many years, you would indeed soon be able to break out and regain your freedom. Unfortunately, you met me. You're unlucky. Why? Can you kill me? The light demon was disdainful. From the moment I was born, I was indestructible. Do you think you can kill me? We'll know once we try. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit still chuckled. However, before that, I would like to ask what caused the seal to weaken when you were trapped in the realm previously. In the past, although the blood-eye cliff was dangerous, it never glowed. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit had checked it back when it was a martial sage. After Dongfang Pochu's essence soul took over, it had also checked, but there was nothing. There must be a reason why it suddenly glowed this time. You want to know? When the light demon heard this, it said sarcastically, ha ha ha, since you want to know, I refuse to tell you. I'll anger you to death, what can you do to me? Destroy me? Come on, destroy me. Alright then. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit was not angry. It said calmly, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Chi. The light demon said disdainfully, you make it sound so nice. Come and destroy. Boom. A thunderclap suddenly sounded in the inner world. In the darkness, the thunderbolt sword bloomed with electric arcs. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit guided it to release destructive power that descended on the light demon and swiftly struck it. Ah! A miserable scream instantly resounded through the inner world and echoed in the primordial spirit's mind. The light demon's body, that was originally surging with golden light, became even brighter and more blinding at this moment. The golden body distorted and trembled crazily. Amidst the screams, it flew into the depths of the inner world. Boom! Without another word, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit continued to release electric arcs and destructive power to strike the light demon. Escaping in his inner world, where could it go? Under the circulation of the law of destruction, through the lightning and thunder of the thunderbolt sword, the power of destruction could be released. No matter where the light demon went, it could accurately hit it and destroy it bit by bit. That's right, the light demon's golden body could not be destroyed, be it with soul power, the power of the stars, demonic energy, devilish energy, or other powers. This was also why the light demon was so terrifying. It was unknown where this fellow came from. In ancient legends, it was born from darkness, but it fed on darkness and illuminated the world. However, the light beams of the light demon were filled with a terrifying demonic will and nature. Once a person without a grotto heaven was illuminated by the light beams, almost no one could stop him from becoming a demon slave. As for the light demon devouring others, it did not mean devouring the physical body or purely the soul. Instead, it meant absorbing the human body's essence, energy, soul, mind, will, and so on. After these were swallowed by the light demon, this person would also become a living dead. But the power of destruction was different. The power of the law of destruction could destroy almost everything in the world. The reason why it wasn't 100% effective was because there were some strange existences born from chaos that even the law of destruction couldn't erase. However, the light demon was clearly not such a strange existence. Its light demonic nature and demonic will could not achieve any effect on Su Jingxing's primordial spirit manifestation because it was absorbed and refined immediately in its inner world. It was already immune to the power of grotto heavens, let alone the power of the world. Now that it was augmented by the power of destruction, the light demon could only flee in all directions, but it could no longer survive. Boom! 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 Bolts of lightning flashed everywhere in the inner world, striking down with destructive power and descending on the light demon. As a result, the body of this ancient demonic creature that had lived for countless years was destroyed bit by bit. The range of the glow that could originally fill the entire world was now getting smaller and smaller. The golden body also began to dim and lose its luster. Human, stop, stop. I was wrong. I was joking with you previously. Why would I harm people? I was joking. Ah. The light demon was finally afraid and begged for mercy as it fled. However, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit did not seem to hear it. It continued to release lightning and destroy the light demon bit by bit through the power of destruction. Ned human, you will die a horrible death. Your soul will fall into the endless demon sea and sink for eternity. Ah. Human, I was wrong, I was really wrong. I won't dare to do it again. Ah. Human, wait. I'm willing to be loyal to you and submit to you. You know my strength the best. As long as you're willing to let me go, I'm willing to serve you forever and acknowledge you as my master. Ah. Boom. 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 Thunder rumbled endlessly. The light demon's threatening, begging, and miserable voice also sounded non-stop. This fellow was completely terrified and wanted to beg for mercy. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit ignored it. He had some interest in demonic creatures like the sword demon and the bone demon and was confident of controlling them. However, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit wasn't confident in controlling an ancient existence like the light demon because it didn't know how it came about, whether its consciousness was complete, or whether there were any parts of it left outside. Without knowing the details, it naturally wouldn't accept it. After all, the threat posed by the light demon was too great. No one below the grotto heaven realm could stop it. Compared to the threat of its existence, it was better to kill it directly. Therefore, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit was unmoved by the light demon's roars, pleas for mercy, and cries. It directly destroyed it completely through the power of destruction. Without leaving any bits of light behind. Card +1. Ha! Su Jingxing's primordial spirit was overjoyed. I didn't expect a card to be extracted from the light demon even after its death. Delighted, it took out the card from the soul space and read the description. Eternal Day card. As the name suggested, once unlocked, it could release an eternal glow that would light up the world and prevent it from being troubled by darkness. Well, at least that was what the card description said. It wasn't sure about the details. The Eternal Day card could emit eternal light, and the light it released was neither hot nor harmful. However, if such light really continued to exist, the impact would be huge. Being unable to differentiate between day and night was not a good thing. For this, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit put it away as a reserve. The divine consciousness manifestation dissipated and its consciousness returned to the primordial spirit's body. The threat of the Blood Eye Cliff was resolved. The next perilous land, the Black Flame Caves. Whoosh! 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 The primordial spirit turned illusory and shuttled through space. In a few breaths, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit arrived at the Black Flame Caves again. It was familiar with the way and found the few caves where the eagle-eyed beast was originally active in. Who is it? How dare you barge in? It's you. The eagle-eyed beast's eyes widened as it stared fixedly at Su Jingxing's primordial spirit. Huang Tianhua. This is your true form. Last time, it was a waterman. What are you trying to do with your true form here this time? The eagle-eyed beast looked at Su Jingxing's primordial spirit warily. It felt an intense threat from Su Jingxing's primordial spirit. It found it unbelievable. The last time Su Jingxing's primordial spirit came in an energy body, it was indeed quite capable and powerful, but compared to this true form. No, there was no way to compare the two. The eagle-eyed beast only felt threatened by this true form before it. It tensed up and dug its claws into the ground. Long time no see. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit chuckled. Relax, don't be so nervous. We're old friends after all, right? What are you doing here? The eagle-eyed beast growled, wary and alert. Visiting you, old friend, said Su Jingxing's primordial spirit as it walked forward. The eagle-eyed beast's heart skipped a beat and it retreated. What exactly are you doing here? It asked nervously. Given your strength, there's nothing here that can catch your eye. Don't worry. I'm just revisiting a familiar place. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit continued to move forward, at a faster speed this time. Left with no choice, the eagle-eyed beast retreated as well, its eyes fixed on Su Jingxing's primordial spirit. One stepped forward, and the other stepped back. Soon, they arrived at the abyss that Su Jingxing's primordial spirit had crossed last time. They entered the passageway and arrived at the spacious underground space again. It was in this martial domain that the eagle-eyed beast spoke that Su Jingxing's blood doppelganger shook the stone pillar beside the altar and obtained a jar of dragon blood the last time. Then, it was instantly teleported out of the black flame caves. This time, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit released its divine consciousness to scan the space and quickly discovered that the martial domain in front of them was on the verge of collapse. Although the altar in the center was connected to the martial domain, it was actually independent. There was an internal space inside the altar. There were many items inside. Weapons, objects, herbs, ores, and so on. The dragon's blood that Su Jingxing's blood doppelganger had gotten from the lucky draw the last time was most likely from this internal space. The internal embedded space was still very stable, but an alternate space connected to the martial domain was constantly expanding and attacking it. This was also the source of the collapse of the martial domain. The alternate space was aggressive. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit could not be sure what was inside with the martial domain between them. But it was most likely related to ancient demonic creatures. An ancient demonic creature on the same level as the light demon was charging non-stop and was about to break out. Brother Hua, we can't stay here anymore. Retracting its divine consciousness, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit looked at the eagle-eyed beast. The ancient demon you're protecting is already breaking the seal. It will come out in a few days. How do you know? Asked the eagle-eyed beast stiffly. Also, I'm not protecting the ancient demons, but this martial domain. It means the same thing. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit said coolly, once an ancient demon breaks out of the seal, the first thing it will do is destroy this place. Do you think you can guard it with your ability? Its eyes darted around before it asked, if I can't guard it, can you? I didn't say I'm going to. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit shrugged. I'm telling you that the ancient demon has broken the seal because I want you to leave. Leave? If I leave, won't the ancient demon still harm the world? The eagle-eyed beast interrupted. Don't worry. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit said calmly, ancient demons can't harm the world. There's no point in saying too much. Come out with me first and you'll know what's going on. With that, it turned around. It rushed back to the passageway and left quickly. Seeing this, the eagle-eyed beast hesitated for a moment and followed doubtfully. The man and the beast left the passageway. Standing on the other side of the abyss, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit opened the inner world. Using its divine consciousness, it scanned and enveloped the entire martial domain and the alternate space connected to it. Swoosh! The eagle-eyed beast only felt a flash before its eyes, and a huge hole appeared in front of it. The martial domain was located underground. Although it wasn't very deep, it was indeed built from underground. However, at this moment, the martial domain and even the original location of the passageway had become empty, turning into a huge hole. Disappeared? The eagle-eyed beast's eyes widened. You moved the entire martial domain away. What else? Su Jingxing's essence soul glanced at it. There are ancient and terrifying demonic creatures in the alternate space behind the martial domain. This ancient demon is about to emerge. Wouldn't leaving it here be allowing it to harm the world? Why? Are you sad that the martial domain is gone? A little. The eagle-eyed beast sighed. The martial domain is the last legacy left behind by Master. Now that it's gone, Master. Forget it, it's useless to say anything more. Will moving the martial domain affect you or cause future trouble? Don't worry about that. The martial domain is with me. It's fine if the ancient demon doesn't break the seal, but if it does, it will die even faster. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit chuckled. On the other hand, if you don't mind, you can tell me about your master's background? I'm not sure about the details either. The eagle-eyed beast sighed. I only know that Master isn't from this world. He seems to have come from some great desolate. He came to this world by accident and saved me, who was still young at that time. Back then, it was still ancient times. Master's arrival attracted the attention of many human experts. However, Master was also a human and wasn't weak, so it didn't bring him much trouble. In the end, it was because a powerful ancient demonic creature appeared that Master chose this place in order to deal with it. He imprisoned the demonic creature and eventually died from serious injuries. I see. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit understood. Deep down, it was slightly surprised. It knew about the great desolate world. Previously, when the blood doppelganger came to the Black Flame Caves, it had sleepwalked and toured the great desolate world once. At that time, Su Jingxing's blood doppelganger had guessed that someone in the Black Flame Caves was somehow related to that world. Now that it heard the eagle-eyed beast's words, it was enlightened. It turned out that the other party was really from the great desolate world and had accidentally come to Earth Star in ancient times. In the end, it even died while dealing with an ancient demonic creature. From this point of view, no matter what the other party's name was or where he came from, he was still an admirable human ancestor. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit sighed and bade farewell to the eagle-eyed beast. There was no longer a need to guard the martial domain, and the eagle-eyed beast did not remain in the Black Flame Caves either. It left with the primordial spirit. Brother Hua, the world I'm in is very big and beautiful. More than 10,000 years has passed since ancient times, and the times have long changed. You can take your time to see what exactly happened later. The exception is that other than me, no one here is your match. Therefore, it's best not to kill wantonly when you move around outside. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit warned, of course, if they provoke you and have ill intentions, you can do whatever you want with them. Don't worry, I'm not an evil beast. As long as humans don't target me, I won't kill anyone. The eagle-eyed beast shook its head and its eyes flashed. Can you really deal with the powerful ancient demon behind the martial domain? Of course. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit grinned. It's about to be completely annihilated. Huh? The eagle-eyed beast was dumbfounded and confused. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit had been with it since just now. The eagle-eyed beast did not see anything abnormal with Su Jingxing's primordial spirit. Now, the ancient demon was about to be annihilated. When did it attack? The eagle-eyed beast was at a loss. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit did not explain. After a series of warnings, it turned illusory and rushed to the next location. As for the ancient demonic creature in the alternate space, it had already broken out of the seal when Su Jingxing's primordial spirit walked out of the Black Flame Caves. The martial domain had also collapsed. The space inside the altar in the center of the martial domain was not affected. It was still in Su Jingxing's inner world. The ancient demon that was sealed in the alternate space also appeared in the inner world. However, as soon as it appeared, the manifestation condensed from Su Jingxing's primordial spirit released destructive power through the thunderbolt sword and kept slashing at it. Just like the light demon, this ancient demon did not have a physical body, nor was it an energy body. Its so-called body was a large expanse of pitch-black mist. In this aspect it was the opposite of the light demon. The light demon was a ball of light, while this ancient demon was a pitch-black mist. Ordinary methods, be it soul power or divine weapons, could not destroy the strange black mist. However, under the power of destruction, it was completely annihilated. Card +1. The primordial spirit took out the card extracted and read the description. Eternal Night card. The ability of this card was actually the opposite of the Eternal Day card. Unlocking it would release endless darkness that would devour all light. I wonder what will happen if I unlock the Eternal Night card and the Eternal Day card at the same time. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit thought playfully. With both unlocked at the same time, it would be Eternal Night on one side and Eternal Day on the other. An ancient demonic creature that could create Eternal Night. It was no wonder that the master of the eagle-eyed beast had sacrificed himself to deal with it. It was almost impossible to kill such a terrifying demonic creature unless one had reached a certain realm. It was unknown how the owner of the eagle-eyed beast from the great desolate world sealed it in the alternate space. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit sighed and put the cards away as backup. The third land of peril. When Su Jingxing's primordial spirit landed, it realized that it was a valley. Dense lightning and thunder shuttled through the sky above the valley. Instead of rushing in, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit first took out the thunderbolt sword and sent it into the lightning and thunder to charge it. The thunderbolt sword directly absorbed all the lightning. As a result, the valley was exposed to the sunlight, revealing a desolate and cold scene. There was not a single plant in the entire valley. There was only the pitch-black ground and scattered rubble. However, through its divine consciousness, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit keenly caught that there was a terrifying existence underground about to break out. However, this terrifying existence was blocked and trapped by a strange force. Compared to the previous two ancient demonic creatures, the terrifying existence underground in the valley was more suppressed. Because this power was time. The stored power of time together with space trapped the other party. However, under the influence of an unknown energy, this terrifying existence had managed to open a gap. Through this gap, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit discovered that time was isolated from the outside world in the alternate space beneath the valley. Although the separation was not as pure as the Azure Dragon world, it was not far from it. In other words, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit entering it for seclusion to cultivate would have nothing to do with the flow of time in the outside world. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit was overjoyed. Immediately, before the gap was completely broken, the illusory primordial spirit body condensed into a line and broke through from the outside to enter. The moment it entered, the crack immediately repaired itself. This was also the reason why the terrifying existence behind the crack could not leave. The exit was extremely difficult to open from the inside, and even the slightest crack would be repaired immediately. When Su Jingxing's primordial spirit opened it from the outside and entered, it was also trapped. However, this was the primordial spirit's choice. Unlike the ancient demonic creature that had been trapped inside for countless years. Swoosh! Without looking at what kind of existence this ancient demonic creature was, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit directly opened the inner world and put it in. Then, the thunderbolt sword released lightning and thunder, releasing destructive power that continuously destroyed the other party. The power of the law of destruction could destroy even worlds. Perhaps there were strange existences who were immune to it, but it clearly did not include demonic creatures. Facing the destructive power, this ancient demonic creature, like the two ancient demons earlier, roared angrily and was destroyed bit by bit until it completely disappeared. Card +1. Another card was extracted. It took it out from the soul space and read the information. Myriad Forms card. The primordial spirit couldn't tell the exact function of this card from its name. After understanding it, it learned that it was a life experience card, containing the strange power that could infinitely simulate life. Through this card, Su Jingxing could try countless possible life experiences and feedback them to his mind. That's right, this was a card that could continuously transform the mind. The Law of Fate. After figuring out the exact ability of the Myriad Forms card, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit's first thought was, I now have a chance to comprehend the law of fate. Fate was too illusory. If he wanted to rely on himself to cultivate in seclusion, he wouldn't be able to comprehend it even after thousands, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of years. This was also the reason why it was difficult to break through and enter the mysterious nether realm. It was too difficult. Even with the help of some powerful treasures, it was extremely difficult to comprehend. However, if one were to go through countless lives, and get a taste of different experiences over and over again, would they have a chance to comprehend the law of fate with the knowledge gathered? Of course. And the probability was very high. It was unknown what kind of existence this annihilated ancient demonic creature was. Such a magical card like the Myriad Forms card was actually extracted after its death. Even though Su Jingxing's primordial spirit had destroyed it, it still had to thank it from the bottom of his heart. There was nothing to say. Coincidentally, the flow of time in this different space was different from the outside world. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit immediately unlocked the Myriad Forms card and began to experience a different life. The first time, he was in a feudal dynasty. He was a butcher in a town. Because he was too stingy with selling meat, he was framed and eventually died in a cell. The second time, he was a little Taoist priest in a world where demons and devils wreaked havoc in the world. On Earth in Su Jingxing's previous life, how many years did it take for the legendary Jade Emperor to finally ascend to the throne of the Nine Heavens and look down on the world? The answer was, after the Jade Emperor experienced 1,750 tribulations, each lasting 129,600 years. From this, it could be seen that those who wanted to achieve the supreme great Tao and reach the peak of the universe had all experienced unimaginable tribulations and suffering through countless years. It wasn't just the transformation of the physical body and soul. The breakthrough in one's temperament and mind was also beyond imagination. Understanding the law of fate and breaking the shackles was an indispensable threshold. Only after crossing it would one be completely free from the restraints of fate. I am the master of my fate, not the heavens. Anyone could shout slogans, but how many people truly fulfill it? Before this, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit had never thought of succeeding in controlling its own fate. The reason was that fate was too profound and unpredictable. No matter how outstanding one's talent was, it was useless. However, with the help of the Myriad Forms card, this impossibility was now possible. Through simulated countless lives and experiencing every one. The joys and sorrows, separations and reunions, illnesses and old age, the ups and downs. All kinds of life experiences would be slowly accumulated. From the initial palpitations, to silence, to anger, to indifference, to disgust, frustration, and finally numbness. If it were anyone else, they would have broken down long ago with such tests that endlessly targeted one's spirit. Su Jingxing did not. It relied on multitasking. Su Jingxing's main body was outside and his consciousness was normal. Through the Myriad Forms card, the primordial spirit experienced simulated lives again and again. During the simulation, the essence soul's mind would always maintain the last bit of sentience to sense the experiences and be thoroughly enlightened. Finally, it touched the law of fate. Of course, this was merely touching. It was equivalent to seeing the river of fate. If it wanted to completely comprehend it, it would have to enter the river of fate and jump out of it. However, with a start, the following steps would be much simpler than before. The Myriad Forms card had completed its mission, and Su Jingxing's primordial spirit left the simulation process. This had existed from the very beginning. As long as Su Jingxing's primordial spirit wanted to, it could stop the simulation. Guarding its last bit of sentience, experiencing all kinds of lives again and again. Now that it was over, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit consciousness returned and grabbed the threshold of the river of fate. Its mind and soul were one, and it studied it non-stop in the isolated space where time flowed tens of thousands of times faster than in the outside world. Enter the river of fate and leave it. This process took countless years. During the comprehension process, the laws of the inner world would automatically circulate, and the power of the world produced would continuously accumulate. Therefore, the moment Su Jingxing's primordial spirit finally comprehended the law of fate, the stability of the inner world had reached perfection. The power of the world was not much inferior to those experienced martial artists in the Seeking Realm, or Seventh Realm demon and devil emperors. In other words, at this moment, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit was strong enough to resist the Seventh Realm devil emperor who occupied the continent of divine grace. However, this alternate space it was in was rare, so Su Jingxing's primordial spirit did not leave immediately. This alternate space could trap ancient demonic creatures, but not it. With the might of the inner world, devouring alternate spaces was a breeze. However, if it really did so, the alternate space would no longer exist. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit still wanted to use this place to complete the breakthrough from the inner world to the small universe. It was also the advancement from the Seeking Realm to the mysterious Nether Realm. To complete this step, one needed to add the law of fate to the inner world. This was another huge and time-consuming project. After fusing the law of fate and circulating the four major laws, it would complete the transformation of the inner world. One step at a time. As it waited, countless years passed. When it heard a loud bang that resounded through the primordial spirit, mind, and soul. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit was enlightened and sensed the changes in the inner world. From a world, it had expanded into a small universe. The changes were endless and profound, as if this was the beginning of time. Boom! 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 Every loud bang represented the birth of a world. Under the laws of yin and yang, the small universe kept exploding. Outside was boundless darkness, and inside was filled with light, transforming into the creation of a small world. When everything stopped, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit instantly sensed that 87,935 worlds had been established in the small universe. Under the operation of their respective laws, these worlds evolved orderly. Each at their own pace. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit did not intend to interfere. At this moment, it had experienced countless births and deaths. Its mind was as firm as a rock, and did not fear any challenge. The explosions of the small universe allowed Su Jingxing to complete the transformation from the Seeking Realm to the mysterious Nether Realm. Lord of a World. In the human race's divine martial arts system, the mysterious Nether Realm was equivalent to the realm, Lord of a World. Lord of a World achieved. It's now time to deal with the Seventh Realm Demon Emperor who occupied the continent of divine grace, murmured Su Jingxing's primordial spirit. With a thought, the small universe devoured the strange space it was in. Swoosh! Its vision turned black as Su Jingxing's primordial spirit left and stood in the void. Not far ahead was the border membrane of Earth Star and the void world that had fused with it to maintain balance. I almost forgot that I've yet to deal with the void world. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit stared at the void world. The main body's spiritual martial body turned illusory and shuttled through space to arrive in the U Nation's capital. He sent a voice transmission to Dongfang Pochu's physical body. He was about to begin destroying the void. Once void annihilation began, the transcendent great essence soul left in the void world would undoubtedly be cleansed as well. Dongfang Pochu naturally knew this. Therefore, after receiving the voice transmission, his essence soul in the void world immediately called for the others to leave the void world quickly. The physical body made calls to the western continent and the various overseas islands, calling for the transcendent great essence souls in these places to leave the void world immediately. During this process, Su Jingxing's main body had been watching from the ground. His spiritual martial arts divine consciousness scanned the world, waiting for the essence souls to leave the void world. Moments later, he confirmed that everyone had left. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit began to release the power of the world and forcefully separate Earth Star from the void world. When he was in the Kuntian world, heavenly Tao crystals were required to separate the void world. But Su Jingxing's primordial spirit no longer needed them. The power of the world and the power of the universe in the small universe was stronger and gentler than the heavenly Tao crystals. It easily separated the void world from Earth Star. After the separation, the thunderbolt sword immediately shot out lightning and thunder, releasing destructive power that descended on the void world. Boom! 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 Again and again. Streaks of destructive power destroyed the void world inch by inch. The moment the entire void world disappeared, the cosmic tower shook with a buzz and the sixth level was unlocked. Ming, what's the function of the sixth level? Su Jingxing asked in his mind. Master, the sixth level is creation. Ming, who had manifested, became even more respectful. It faced Su Jingxing and bowed. Creation? Not bad. Creation naturally encompassed everything. But Su Jingxing could achieve creation of nature himself. Including creation of life. However, creating life required the consumption of origin power. In the seeking realm, one would control the power of the world, while the mysterious nether realm went one step further, controlling the origin power of the great Tao. When it came to the origin of the great Tao, its growth was too slow and limited. Su Jingxing only had a few wisps right now. The function of the sixth level of the cosmic tower only required heavenly Tao crystals. That was good enough. Of course, Su Jingxing had no intention of creating life in his small universe for the time being. Therefore, the sixth level's function was temporarily useless. The next step was to go to the continent of divine grace and kill the seventh realm demon emperor. Suddenly, the primordial spirit's heart stirred as it looked into the distant darkness through the void. There, an evil will was crossing the endless void and heading straight for Earth Star. Humph. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit sneered coldly and released a destructive force that shattered the void to meet the evil will. Like snowflakes under the hot sun, as soon as the evil and malicious will came into contact with the destructive power, it instantly melted and dissolved. Buzz. The air shook. A wisp of consciousness descended from the distant darkness. Destruction power? Who are you? A loud voice that was purely targeted at the soul resounded through the air. Scram. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit also condensed and released a wisp of will fluctuations that spread out into the endless void. Then, there was nothing else. It was unknown if the other party was wary or afraid, but there was no will released. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit waited for a moment, but there was no movement. Immediately, its figure flashed and returned to Earth Star, landing in the waters of Insect Emperor Island. Whoosh! Seawater was thrown into the air and the waves rolled. The huge island occupied by the Queen Mother floated on the sea, and the surrounding energy barriers were all shattered. The Queen Mother was bloated like a pregnant sow, but she had more than 10 thick snake necks and heads of a hideous giant bird. Her mountain-like body was exposed to the sunlight. Human, you. I knew it was you. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit interrupted the Queen Mother's shock and scanned the entire island with its divine consciousness. After confirming that this was the nest of the devil insect, without another word, its divine consciousness spread and wrapped around the island, dragging it into the small universe. Swoosh! A massive pit was left on the surface of the sea. Whoosh! Whoosh! Seawater poured into the pit until it was drowned and filled up. In the small universe. On a desolate planet that had just been born. The island suddenly appeared out of thin air. Where is this? The Queen Mother shook its head and looked around, exclaiming in shock. The voice condensed from mental will floated in the air. You don't have to worry about that. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit condensed a manifestation that floated in midair. It looked at the Queen Mother and said coldly, "It was you who attracted the evil will, right?" The last time, the Queen Mother had warned Su Jingxing's primordial spirit that its true body could not be exposed. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit listened and let it off. Unexpectedly, the Queen Mother appeared on its own this time, causing the evil will to cross the endless void and attack Earth Star. If Su Jingxing's primordial spirit had not grasped the power of destruction and destroyed it with one shot, causing the other party to be wary and give up on subsequent attacks, Earth Star would have already been cleansed earlier. Evil will? The Queen Mother was shocked. It's it. But how is this possible? Isn't the void world gone? How does it still know that I'm on Earth Star? Who is it? Su Jingxing's primordial spirit shouted coldly. I don't know the details either. The Queen Mother hesitated for a moment before answering honestly, I only know that it's called the Chaos Snake Mother. It can sense its target at any time through the void world in any world that the void world has invaded. I'm one of its targets. Logically speaking, now that the void world is gone, it shouldn't be able to lock onto me anymore. I didn't expect. You didn't expect it to discover you as soon as you exposed yourself. It wants to kill you from the endless void. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit finished the sentence coldly. Well, I'm sorry. I really didn't know it was so powerful before. The Queen Mother said nervously, don't worry, next time. There won't be a next time, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit interrupted. Boom! Thunder and lightning erupted as destructive power descended. No. The Queen Mother only had time to let out a terrified scream before its huge body, along with the entire island, was wiped out by destructive power. Card +1. Swoosh! The primordial spirit took out the card from the soul space and read the information. Star card. As the name suggested, this was a magical card that could instantly produce a star once unlocked. Moreover, it would be a star that could nurture life, not a desolate dead one. What a card! As expected of the Queen Mother. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit played with the card for a while and was in no hurry to unlock it. It put it away as a backup. As usual, there was no need for life in the small universe for the time being. It felt strange to have life. After destroying the void world and dealing with the Queen Mother, the threats on Earth Star were basically eliminated. According to the plan, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit headed to the continent of divine grace again through the instant space ability of the cosmic tower. Continent of divine grace. In the nameless cave. Swoosh! Space distorted and ripples appeared. As the vortex spun, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit appeared. Senior, you're finally back. A surprised voice sounded. The curly-haired woman suddenly sat up on the ground and looked at Su Jingxing's primordial spirit with joy. The middle-aged man and the old man were also excited, but they did not say anything and only looked at Su Jingxing's primordial spirit with hope. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit nodded indifferently. I was delayed by something, but you don't have to go to my world anymore. Swoosh! The curly-haired woman's face turned pale. She stuttered, Sen. What I mean is, there's no need for you guys to go. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit interrupted and explained, because your world will soon regain peace. All the invading demons will die. Huh? The curly-haired woman, the middle-aged man, and the bearded old man were all stunned and confused. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit did not explain further. Its body turned illusory and passed through the mountain wall. This time, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit clearly sensed that he and the world at the continent of divine grace was in repelled each other. There was a small universe in the primordial spirit's body. It was fine on Earth star because they belonged to the same source and the two could be perfectly fused. However, strictly speaking, the continent of divine grace was located on and Su Jingxing's primordial spirit belonged to two different worlds. They repelled each other. At the root of it all, two worlds were rejecting each other. If not for the fact that Su Jingxing's primordial spirit had always maintained a restrained state and did not allow a trace of the small universe's aura in its body to leak out, it wouldn't even be able to enter the continent of divine grace. If it really tried to force their way in, it would only burst the continent of divine grace. This was the effect of a high realm. One could not descend into a low-level world. Of course. This trip would be the last time Su Jingxing's primordial spirit was coming here. It carefully emerged from the mountain. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit released its divine consciousness and expanded it, sweeping in all directions and crazily covering large areas. As soon as the Sajin demons in the area were detected, it immediately began a divine consciousness strangulation. Kill the target through the soul. In an instant. Card plus 4217. Card plus 11,839. The number of cards extracted quickly increased. You are courting death. A furious roar came from afar. As soon as the voice sounded, a huge cold will arrive from a distance. I was waiting for you. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit shouted softly and gave up on the other Saijin demons. Its divine consciousness met the cold will. Boom! Boom! A violent explosion erupted in the air, echoing non-stop. Amidst the echoes, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit body tore through the air at high speed and arrived above a towering mountain. It saw the true body of the Seventh Realm Demon Emperor. The Seventh Realm Demon Emperor's true body that was dozens of meters tall was hidden in the surging demonic energy. An endless and terrifying pressure swept through the area within a radius of more than 1,000 miles in the sky and ground. How dare you? The Seventh Realm Demon Emperor spoke. Its voice shook the air like muffled thunder. I'm not too bold. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit stared at the pillar of light formed from pitch-black demonic energy and replied indifferently, on the other hand, you, the dignified Demon Emperor, aren't necessarily that bold either. You hide in the demonic light all year round. Why? Are you so shameful? Boom! The air suddenly tore apart, and explosions filled the sky. The huge black light that wrapped around the Seventh Realm Demon Emperor suddenly soared and instantly enveloped the surroundings within hundreds of miles. From the sky above to the abyss underground. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit was naturally drowned as well. In the next second, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit realized that it had left the world of the continent of divine grace and moved to a huge space, or rather, a small world filled with demonic energy. Ha ha ha. The voice of the Seventh Realm Demon Emperor sounded in the space. The voice transmission targeted the soul was vast and mighty, echoing non-stop. Despicable human, I know you have great divine powers and a rare treasure that allows you to be reborn many times, but you can devour me. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit interrupted. Drag me into your demon domain. No matter how I revive, I won't be able to escape your control, right? It's best that you know. The Seventh Realm Demon Emperor was a little surprised and bewildered. It said coldly, I know that your immortal divine power allows you to cross worlds to be reborn, but my devouring divine power can also do the same. If you want to leave the demon domain, you can give it a try and we'll see which is stronger. No need. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit chuckled. The spatial demon domain in front of it was essentially an inner world in the seeking realm. It was just that its name was different. Although the demons mainly cultivated their physiques, they would still produce a demon domain in their bodies when they reached the seventh realm. Moreover, this demon domain was extremely close to the demon body, connected in life and death. In other words, once the demon domain was shattered, the seventh realm demon emperor would immediately die as well. What do you mean by this? The seventh realm demon emperor was shocked and furious. It had a bad feeling. Nothing, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit said softly. I just want to thank you for saving me a lot of time. You. Boom. Without waiting for the seventh realm devil emperor to ask further, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit released the small universe. Brilliant light and darkness shot out endlessly in an instant, filling every corner of the demon domain, squeezing and breaking it. The seventh realm demon emperor did not even have a chance to execute its devouring divine power. Its demonic body, demonic soul, and demonic will exploded and shattered into nothingness with the demon domain. Card +1. Without any major movements, the fight was a complete reversal. It only used its own small universe to crush the inner world, the demon domain, of a seventh realm demon emperor. This was what Su Jingxing's primordial spirit meant by saving a lot of time. Otherwise, given the combat strength of a seventh realm demon emperor, even Su Jingxing's primordial spirit, which had just stepped into the mysterious nether realm and was beginning to control a small universe, would have to spend a lot of effort to take it down. The demon domain was broken, and the seventh realm demon emperor died. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit took out the card that was extracted and read the information. A memory card. It wasn't a heretic art for divine power, but a memory card. The memories of a seventh realm demon emperor should be pretty useful too. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit in the void unlocked the card as it pondered. In the next moment, half of the memories of the seventh realm demon emperor flashed through its mind. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit skimmed through most of the content, but some of the information was really surprising. The Void World. At this moment, thanks to the seventh realm demon emperor, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit finally learned about the origin of the Void World. The Void Divine Being. The Void World that invaded the various worlds and planets was actually a super divine power cultivated by a powerful existence called the Void Divine Being. The purpose of the Void World was to annex all the stars and worlds in the universe. The Void Divine Being was not a life form of this universe. As for the seventh realm demon emperors and even the Chaos Snake Mother that had locked onto the extraterrestrial devil insect Queen Mother, they were all subordinates of the Void Divine Being. Apart from them, the Void Divine Being also had other powerhouses under its command. For example, the Battle Emperor, Demon Emperor, and so on, who got the experts of their races to attack the Void Resistance Alliance in the Kantian world. Since the Void Divine Being wanted to annex the universe, the experts in the universe naturally wouldn't agree. Other than a small portion of them fighting in various parts of the universe. The main army had been confronting each other at the end of the world. As for how long the confrontation lasted, the seventh realm demon emperor did not know. In any case, it had been tens of millions of years. Those who could reach the end of the world were all theoretically immortal existences. They were basically in the ninth realm, the immortal realm. In the divine martial arts system, above the seeking realm was mysterious nether, and above that was the immortal realm. The corresponding realm for the demons, devils, and the battle race was the ninth realm. Through repeated cheats, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit finally reached the mysterious nether realm and possessed a small universe. It would take countless years to reach the immortal realm, leave the existing universe, and open up his own true universe in the chaos. Before this, he had never even thought about it. This was because there was basically no shortcut from the mysterious nether realm to the immortal realm and opening a true universe in the chaos. It could only happen with the passing of time. But there were exceptions to everything. In the memories of the seventh realm demon emperor, there was a peerless genius of human spiritual martial arts who had created an unprecedented path of detachment. That was, when one reached the mysterious nether realm in the divine martial arts system and the true martial realm in the spiritual martial arts system, fused the two together again. The body would become one with the universe, all techniques would become one, and one would become detached. True martial. It was the last realm after a spiritual martial artist transcended 3 tribulations in the space-crushing realm. It was equivalent to the mysterious nether realm of the divine martial arts system, where one would not be bound by fate. At this point it was also the end for spiritual martial artists. With no path ahead, the true martial in the memories of the 7th realm demon emperor was naturally indignant. Therefore, he created such a path of detachment. But it was only a theory. Without the actual detachment technique, this true martial ultimately died. The reason was that this detachment technique was completely impossible to achieve. This was because if one wanted to take this path of detachment, the first requirement was to cultivate divine martial arts and spiritual martial arts together. It wasn't that there weren't humans who cultivated both divine martial arts and spiritual martial arts, but there had never been humans who advanced together and finally reached the mysterious nether and true martial realms at the same time. This blocked off the path of detachment, not to mention that the primordial spirit and physical body would merge again and fuse with the universe. Except for Su Jingxing. Cultivating both paths at the same time was a complete accident for Su Jingxing. Today, his divine martial arts had reached the mysterious nether realm. It was only a matter of time before his spiritual martial arts reached the true martial realm. Advancing from the space-crushing realm to the true martial realm also required one to withstand the cleansing of the lightning tribulation. However, it was not void divine thunder, but nirvana dark thunder, a terrifying heavenly lightning born from the power of destruction. It was not inferior to and was even more terrifying than chaos divine thunder. However, Su Jingxing had grasped the power of destruction. Why would he be afraid of the nirvana dark thunder? So, I want this detachment technique. The primordial spirit's eyes lit up. Su Jingxing had thought that if he took another step forward, there would be no other shortcut. Unexpectedly, he discovered another shortcut through the memory card from the 7th realm demon emperor. This shortcut was even tailored for him. The peerless genius of the human spiritual martial arts who created the detachment technique did not hide it for his own use after creating it. Instead, he spread it because he did not have the conditions and could not achieve it himself. The purpose of spreading the detachment technique was to hope that future generations could help him achieve this path. As such, many people knew the contents of the detachment technique, even though it was only a theory. When the 7th realm demon emperor heard this, it also went to search for the technique out of curiosity. After that, it naturally looked down on it and mocked it. Unexpectedly, Su Jingxing benefited in the end. In the eyes of others, this technique was just a theory and something of interest. However, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit had the deduction card. After the Sajin devils were killed, not all the cards extracted were black body cards. There were other skill cards including the Mystic Soul card, Memory card, and Bloodline card. And the deduction card as well. There were many genius experts among the devils. After these demons died, there was a high chance of extracting the deduction card. Therefore, there was an 80%, no, 90% chance of achieving his goal through the deduction card. There were too many Saijin demons. The more there were, the higher the probability of extracting the deduction card. Without the 7th realm demon emperor holding down the fort, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit could easily kill the other Saijin demons scattered on the continent of divine grace. With a thought, its divine consciousness began killing. Or, it would release a destructive force and a 5th realm or 6th realm demon king would be annihilated on the spot. A huge will enveloped the entire world. None of the demons could escape and all of them died in the end. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit extracted cards. It got what it wanted. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit did not enter the continent of divine grace again and directly returned to Earth Star. The primordial spirit, main body, and blood doppelganger took out cards from the soul space, read the information, and sorted them out. It was mainly to determine the number of deduction cards available. In the end, Su Jingxing was not disappointed. There were a total of 315 deduction cards. These deduction cards could be used between 3 to 10 times. The chances of success for each deduction was very high. With more than 1,000 deductions, Su Jingxing refused to believe that he couldn't deduce the true detachment technique. And that was indeed the case. Su Jingxing unlocked the deduction cards and deduced the contents of the detachment technique in his mind. After unlocking a total of 297 cards, he successfully turned the technique from theory to reality. With the detachment technique in hand, there was hope of becoming one with the universe. Of course, to execute this technique, the spiritual martial body had to be in the true martial realm. Without another word, Su Jingxing's primordial spirit, main body and blood doppelganger immediately transferred to the southern wilderness. The commotion caused by transcending the third tribulation would be too great. And the subsequent transcendence of the true martial tribulation and enduring the cleansing of the nirvana dark thunder would be even more savage. Staying inland would only implicate the innocent, and Su Jingxing didn't want anyone to know either. Moving to the southern wilderness would be much less troublesome. Southern wilderness. In a dead valley. Su Jingxing's physical body stood in the center of the valley and took out the black body cards. He unlocked them and applied them to his body. The primordial spirit and blood doppelganger stood on both sides of the valley as protectors. The black body cards released their power to strengthen his physical body. The first 1,000 cards brought no reaction. Starting from the 5,000th, there was a response. Then 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 cards. The moment the power of 50,000 black body cards was added to his physical body. Boom! The air suddenly tore apart and exploded. Above Su Jingxing's spiritual martial body, streaks of lightning of the void divine thunder descended again. Chi! 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 Pa! 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 Terrifying lightning and thunder wrapped around the body of the spiritual martial arts body and burrowed into it, changing and tempering every cell. An invisible force from the void augmented his body, making him immune to the invasion of the law of life and death and the law of yin and yang. This process was an extreme test of one's mind and will. One could not collapse midway. This was also what Su Jingxing was most confident about. After unlocking the Myriad Forms card, the countless life simulations he had experienced had tempered his mind and will until they were indestructible. So, before Su Jingxing reached his limit, the third void divine thunder had automatically disappeared. 3 Tribulation Overlord. One step further from the perfected space-crushing realm was the true martial realm. Su Jingxing rested for 3 days to consolidate his strength as a 3 Tribulation Overlord. Then, he took out the black body cards again and unlocked them to strengthen his spiritual martial arts body. As it was unknown how much energy was required to attract the Nirvana Dark Thunder. Apart from the black body card, the Mighty Strength card, Divine Power card, Essence Origin card. He took out all the cards that targeted the physical body, unlocked them one by one and applied them to his body. With the spiritual martial arts body of a 3 Tribulation Overlord, the energy modifications brought about by these cards were absorbed without any side effects. As such, when there were only a dozen or so black body cards left. Boom! In the sky above the southern wilderness, there was a loud bang. An incomparably terrifying strike of black lightning tore through the air and struck Su Jingxing's spiritual martial arts body. Nirvana Dark Thunder. The terrifying lightning and thunder that carried a trace of destructive power was successfully attracted and cleansed his spiritual martial body. Su Jingxing, who had been preparing all this while, immediately circulated the law of destruction to overlap with his physical body the moment the Nirvana Dark Thunder descended on him. It combed through the terrifying power of the Nirvana Dark Thunder to spread to his entire body flexibly until it stabilized. In this way. Boom! 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 One after another, again and again. The valley, under the ravages of the terrifying power of the void divine thunder and the Nirvana Dark Thunder, the slopes and highlands around Su Jingxing had long turned into sand. It was no exaggeration to say that at this moment, with Su Jingxing as the center, the entire area within a radius of 100 miles had become a forbidden area. The location of Su Jingxing's physical body was like a massive bowl forcefully dug out of the ground. Boom! 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 Earth-shattering thunder resounded non-stop. Su Jingxing's spiritual martial arts body silently endured the transformation brought about by the Nirvana Dark Thunder and slowly broke free from the restraints of fate. The Nirvana Dark Thunder did not descend for long and disappeared in less than 5 minutes. However, the stimulation and transformation of Su Jingxing's spiritual martial arts body would not end so quickly. In the center of the huge pit that was hundreds of meters deep, Su Jingxing's naked body was motionless, silently enduring the changes in his body. 1 day, 2 days, 5 days. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. Su Jingxing's spiritual martial arts body was still at the bottom of the pit, enduring the changes. 8 months, 9 months, 10 months. In the blink of an eye, it was the 2nd year. The 2nd spring passed, summer passed, and autumn passed. Finally, on the day when winter was about to end. Whoosh! A ray of light swept out from the motionless body and soared into the sky. At the bottom of the pit, Su Jingxing, who had been sitting quietly for nearly 2 years, opened his eyes. Success! At the end of the spiritual martial artist's transformation, the true martial realm. The body of a spiritual martial artist in this realm would not be corroded by the power of the laws of time, space, fate, yin and yang, life and death. In theory, an immortal existence. Even if he lost his consciousness and the soul was destroyed, the physical body would continue to remain. Su Jingxing finally checked the 2 conditions required for the detachment technique. His primordial spirit had stepped into the mysterious nether realm, and his physical body was in the true martial realm. The next step was to merge the primordial spirit and physical body into one again. To put it simply, becoming one with the universe in the detachment technique was to treat the physical body as the universe. Wherever the physical body was, the universe would be there. Unlike before, when the primordial spirit could freely leave and the small universe was fixed in a certain location. The detachment technique was different. Not only would the physical body become detached, the universe would too. The process was not complicated, but it was extremely time-consuming. Of course, there were also particularities about the location to use the technique. Green Cloud Mountain. As a 2-world mountain, Green Cloud Mountain was one of the best places to make a breakthrough, comprehend, and see through the world. However, after being away for 2 years, Su Jingxing was not in a hurry to begin the process of detachment immediately. After his physical body stabilized, he first returned to Qinghe City to catch up with Wu Shuhan and the others. Finally, he chatted with Dongfang Pochu, Yu Xiangtian, Shi Ke, and the rest. The Yu nation was now the only nation in the eastern continent. Without foreign enemies against the human race, there was a 90% chance that a civil war would begin in the remaining days. For this reason, Su Jingxing specially instructed Dongfang Pochu, Shi Ke, and the others not to enter the boundless mountain range and destroy the barbarians. They only had to guard against the birth of new barbarian gods. As long as the barbarians did not have the backing of the barbarian gods, the threat they posed would remain very limited and could be completely controlled. Keeping the barbarians around was perfect for the purpose of strengthening martial artists and allowing them to vent their energy. To put it simply, the boundless mountain range was like the little demon world, a training ground. Finally, it was to vigorously promote the development of technology and move toward space. The Blood Imprisonment Tower was still left in the Golden Sparrow Mountain Basin for the use of all martial artists in the country. Divine refinement on the 2nd level of the Cosmic Tower was still helpful to Su Jingxing currently. At the very least, it could boost the strength of his primordial spirit. This could be said to be Su Jingxing's only weakness. It was true that he had a small universe. His physical body had also reached the true martial realm, and his primordial spirit was indestructible. However, his soul power did not advance to the mysterious nether realm with these changes. It could only be said that it had barely reached the seeking realm. And this was with his mind and consciousness improving as his realm broke through. In short, Su Jingxing had relied on cheating to advance his realm, but his soul power did not rise at the same time. Although with the small universe, even if he was without enough soul power, other parties at the same level could not do anything to Su Jingxing. The mismatch in soul power and realm was ultimately a weakness. The only way to make up for this weakness was to spend time. Su Jingxing didn't want to spend millions, tens of millions, or even billions of years to strengthen his soul power. For now, this was the only way. He arranged everything. Su Jingxing's primordial spirit, physical body, and blood doppelganger arrived at Green Cloud Mountain. He chose a cave on a mountain peak in the north and his primordial spirit and physical body entered. The blood doppelganger stayed outside to guard him. Following the steps of the detachment technique, he began to fuse his primordial spirit and physical body together again, becoming one with the universe. At this time, the benefits of having no life in the small universe were seen. Becoming one with the universe was to integrate the small universe into the body of a true martial. On a microscopic level, every cell was a world. If there was life, it would be equivalent to Su Jingxing eating the other parties during the fusion. Without life, it would be much simpler. Su Jingxing didn't have to worry. Under the circulation of the detachment technique, the primordial spirit and physical body quickly fused into one again. However, it was unknown how long it would take to complete the change to become one with the universe. 1 month, 2 months, 5 months. In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Time went by. Su Jingxing remained seated cross-legged in the cave, continuing the circulation of the becoming one with the universe. Time did not leave any traces on him. On the other hand, the blood doppelganger would occasionally leave the mountain to pay attention to the changes on Earthstar. His former acquaintances had all aged, some had even turned into dust. Su Jingxing's blood doppelganger watched silently, but never made an appearance. The changes in everything in the world would not stop just because someone disappeared. Although Su Jingxing had this ability, he never interfered. In the blink of an eye, 300 years had passed. In these 300 years, after the Yu nation occupied the eastern continent, they finally unified the overseas islands. The 3 top overseas sects were the Xiaoyao Palace, the World's End Court, and the Azura Palace. These sects had no choice but to submit to the forces led by 2 experts in the primordial spirit realm from Yu nation. One of them was Dongfang Pochu. Of course, the Blood Imprisonment Tower had contributed greatly to his advancement to the primordial spirit realm. This martial sage tower was located in the center of the Golden Sparrow Mountain Basin. After 300 years, this place had completely become a global holy land of martial arts. The largest city in the eastern continent had been developed around the Martial Sage Tower. Martial Sage City. Even though Martial Sage Kong had never appeared again in the past 300 years, he had always been revered by all martial artists in the world. At first, Su Jingxing didn't care for this reverence. He continued to sit cross-legged in the cave and silently cultivated. But 500 years later, Su Jingxing suddenly realized that the admiration the citizens of the Yu nation had for him could actually drive his progress. Even though this progress was not obvious, it was real, effective, and efficient. What is going on? Su Jingxing was bewildered. He sensed carefully to see if it was auspicious or ominous. After a round of inspection, he found nothing, so he could only give up. As time passed, the progress brought about by the admiration kept accelerating. Su Jingxing did some calculations. 1,000 years was enough to accelerate his progress of becoming one with the universe by 1%. Another 1,000 years, another 1%. And another 1,000 years, 1% again. In this way, it kept accelerating, working together with the original process. Finally, 30,000 years later, he successfully achieved his goal. Achieved detachment. Since ancient times, Su Jingxing had become the first detacher. From this moment on, his physical body was the universe, and the universe was himself. The moment he achieved detachment, Su Jingxing sensed the repulsion of the surrounding laws of space, time, yin and yang, and others. Rejection by the entire universe. Su Jingxing didn't panic because this was within his expectations. Right now, he was the true universe, but he was still inside the original universe body. Even though the two had the same origin, the original universe would still feel uncomfortable. Anyone would wish they could expel Su Jingxing immediately. Su Jingxing naturally wouldn't insist on staying. After achieving detachment, his soul power had also reached the mysterious nether realm. He was now qualified to head to the end of the world. The memories of the seventh realm demon emperor contained the way and route to the end of the world. However, everyone with the two sides that were confronting each other at the end of the world were all in the ninth realm or immortal realm. Each of them had their own universe. If Su Jingxing rushed over while he was in the mysterious nether realm, it would be no different from courting death. Things were different now. After successfully integrating with the universe and becoming the first detacher in history, Su Jingxing was on the same level as those in the immortal realm and the ninth realm. Therefore, he sensed his detached body and universe. Su Jingxing got up and walked out of the cave that had been sealed for 30,000 years. After 30,000 years, Earth's star had already developed to reach an interstellar era. Space battleships took off and landed nearby and in the distance. The blood doppelganger had been paying attention all these years and knew that Earth's star's martial artists had already stepped out of the galaxy. Further away, no more information was collected. In this era, everyone Su Jingxing was familiar with back then had already died. Dongfang Pochu had also died more than 20,000 years ago. Su Jingxing no longer had any lingering feelings for Earth's star. For this, Su Jingxing also put the blood doppelganger into the inner universe, broke through the void, and entered the chaos. Heading towards the source of this universe, the end of the world. Along the way, Su Jingxing traversed the chaos with his physical body. No void storms, turbulence, or chaos divine thunder left any traces on his body. The clothes formed from origin power were immune to all kinds of attacks, including the strange and terrifying lifeforms in the chaos. Su Jingxing would kill every single one that appeared. As he traveled, he suddenly received a call when he passed by a collapsed void. One that was inexplicably connected to Su Jingxing's mind, and subconsciously hoped that Su Jingxing would head over for a chat. "I've been struck." Su Jingxing's first reaction was that he had been invaded by the lifeforms in the chaos. An invasion of the soul and mind. It was silent and without any warning. However, after sensing carefully and checking repeatedly, he realized that he was not affected. Is there really an unknown existence calling out to me? What the mysterious connection gave Su Jingxing was not a threat or temptation. He would only know what was going on when he got there. So are we going or not? Go. After some thought, Su Jingxing decided to take a look. Therefore, he followed his senses and passed through the collapsed void, endless darkness, and broken sea of stars. Until he entered a boundless space filled with void divine thunder. In the center of the space, a spherical hammer that was mostly damaged floated in the lightning and thunder. This hammer was what called out to me. Curious, Su Jingxing passed through the lightning and thunder and arrived beside the hammer. Crack! Buzz buzz buzz! Thunder and lightning raged, and the black hammer shook slightly. With a thought, Su Jingxing released a destructive force to strike the hammer. Boom! In an instant, the hammer trembled violently and shot out countless bolts of lightning that wreaked havoc in the entire space, and even shattered it. Wave after wave of destructive power suddenly surged out from the hammer and swept out. Most of the hammer that was originally damaged like a wash basin with many chips was repaired at a speed visible to the naked eye. Buzz buzz. The air shook, and the hammer that had returned to its complete state automatically moved to place its handle into Su Jingxing's hand. The moment he gripped it, Su Jingxing's physical body trembled slightly. His mind established a clear connection with the hammer. The hammer of destruction. The chaos-grade weapon left behind by the ancestor of destruction. However, with the death of the ancestor of destruction, the hammer of destruction was also damaged. The original weapon spirit had been killed and the weapon abandoned in this lightning and thunder space. It absorbed the void divine thunder and slowly healed, regenerating a new consciousness. However, what the hammer of destruction needed the most was the power of destruction. Absorbing the void divine thunder to recover was too slow. The hammer of destruction had been here for countless years, but only 1/10,000 of it had been repaired. However, Su Jingxing's destructive power immediately revived it. This was because the hammer of destruction contained the law of destruction which had collapsed. Only external destructive power could make up for it. Su Jingxing's arrival and the mysterious connection was an attraction between the two parties. A ray of destructive power reactivated the hammer of destruction. The energy that burst out from it quickly healed it. At this moment, holding this rare treasure of the chaos that had its consciousness reborn, Su Jingxing could sense its joy and excitement, as well as the intimacy. A newborn child. The hammer of destruction's consciousness was completely that of a newborn child. Because of the streak of destructive power from Su Jingxing, it was naturally close to him. Holding it, Su Jingxing's understanding of the law of destruction swiftly deepened. The two attracted and supported each other. When he stopped comprehending, Su Jingxing realized that his mastery of the law of destruction had reached perfection. From this moment on, Su Jingxing no longer needed to rely on lightning and thunder to release his destructive power. With a thought, it could be released. This unexpected gain was really not bad. After interacting with the hammer of destruction for a moment, Su Jingxing put it away. There was no need to put it into his inner universe. He just had to put it on his palm. At first glance, it looked like a tattoo. This tattoo could transform into a treasure of the chaos that could destroy the world or even the universe at any time. Su Jingxing continued on his way happily after obtaining the treasure. Through the endless darkness, space and time turbulence, shattered void, and then back to chaos. Finally, he arrived at a long corridor where darkness and light intertwined. He walked along the long corridor without a physical body to the end. As if opening the door to a new world, Su Jingxing appeared in a white square. Here, there was no ground, and no dome. The left and right sides were empty, and the further ahead was just a stretch of chaos. Only in front of him stood buildings that were 100 meters tall and resembled stone pillars. When Su Jingxing stepped onto the square, a figure suddenly flashed out from one of the stone pillars. A newcomer. The figure distorted and finally took on the appearance of a middle-aged man in a long white robe. He looked at Su Jingxing and spoke in surprise. "Ha, after so many years, there's finally a newcomer, and a human at that." The man used pure human language. "Heh, aren't you celebrating too early?" Light flashed beside the man. A burly man who was more than 3 meters tall appeared. He looked at Su Jingxing and said in a muffled voice, "Look at his physique. Is he a human? How is he not?" The man retorted, "He's clearly a human. His physique is indeed similar to that of the stone race. No, his physique seems to be even stronger than yours." At the end, the man's eyes lit up as he stared straight at Su Jingxing. The next moment, he cried out involuntarily, "This is true martial detachment. True martial detachment." Another voice sounded. "Rong Wu's or Hong Meng's?" "Hong. Hong Meng." Su Jingxing, who was listening to the conversation, perked up when he heard the words, Hong Meng. Hong Meng. Is this a coincidence, or? He's indeed a freed one. Another voice sounded. As light flickered, a few figures walked out from the stone pillars. A freed one, there's no doubt about it. What I'm curious about now is, what kind of freed one is this new friend? The person who spoke was an old man with white hair and a beard. He spoke grinningly as he walked towards Su Jingxing. Young friend, did you take the path of divine martial arts, spiritual martial arts, or soul? The first. Su Jingxing remained calm and asked, is there such a thing as soul freeing? That's right. Attaining freedom using divine martial arts and spiritual martial arts were created by that fellow, Rong Wu. After recovering from his shock, the man who had regained his composure continued, Rong Wu is a spiritual martial artist. You might not know his name, but you should know about the technique he created, becoming one with the universe. Yes. Su Jingxing nodded. This was the path I took. That's it then. The old man with white hair and beard smiled and said, you used Rong Wu's technique. Although that fellow is gone, I didn't expect anyone to really succeed with it. Huh, us humans ought to flourish. A burly man laughed out loud. As for mental freeing, it was created by Hong Meng, the man continued, explaining to Su Jingxing, Hong Meng's mental freeing is very interesting. It focuses on the transformation of the mind. One might not advance even a single step for countless years, but might also succeed in comprehending it overnight and achieve detachment. But before that, no one had succeeded in either Rong Wu's or Hong Meng's techniques. I see. Su Jingxing was enlightened and thanked them. Thank you for your clarification, seniors. There's no need to call us senior. We're all friends. You can just address us by our names. The old man smiled brightly. Take me for example. My name is Lan Tong. My name is Wan Xiu. I'm from the stone race, said the burly man who was more than 3 meters tall. I am Ming Shui, said the middle-aged man with a smile. Fang Feiyun, the burly man continued. Xian Men. Tao Shen. Zai Ling. Tsang Nye. The others introduced themselves. Su Jingxing. For the first time, Su Jingxing used his real name. There was no point in hiding it now. This was because everyone was either in the immortal realm or the 9th realm. They could sense immediately whether it was his real name or not. He might not be exposed immediately for using an alias, but clearly, they would not open their hearts to him. To be able to come to the end of the world, and as part of the human race. There was really no need to play tricks. So it's little Su. Ming Shui said with a smile. It's really surprising that you were able to succeed with the freeing technique. There's no need for that. Which one of us didn't reach this level by accident, retorted Fang Feiyun. Alright, you're right. Ming Shui was speechless. Said Lan Tong with a smile. No matter what, now that you've successfully transcended, the human race will have another helping hand. That's right. That fellow, Mo Gang, provoked us a few days ago and almost launched an attack. Now that we have little Su, let's see if it dares to come again. On the path concerning the physical body, a freed one is undoubtedly the strongest existence. Wan Xiu said excitedly. It's naturally my honor to be able to help you brothers. Su Jingxing smiled in agreement. I'm just a little curious. Can I meet that friend called Hong Meng? You want to know what's going on with his mental freeing technique, right? Asked Fang Feiyun. You can say that. Su Jingxing didn't hide anything. It's mainly because I want to see Hong Meng, he himself. I wonder if he's here. See Hong Meng? Ming Shui pondered. Are you sure? Of course. Su Jingxing nodded. Why? Is there a problem? There's no problem, said Lan Tong in a low voice. It's just that Hong Meng is not here. Or rather, Hongmeng has never been here. He has always been in his universe. Brother Lan Tong, please elaborate. Su Jingxing bowed. There's no need for that. Lan Tong waved his hand and shared, the deeds of Hongmeng have been circulating in the chaos, but he has always stayed in his own universe. It's not that he doesn't want to come out, but he can't because he's dead. Of course, it can also be said that he's not dead. He has fused into his own universe. Fused into his own universe. Su Jingxing was puzzled. Become one with the universe like me? No, Ming Shiwei continued and shook his head. Yours is free and independent. Hongmeng's isn't. Because he was ambushed by the void divine being when his mental freeing was ongoing, resulting in a failure. He had no choice but to disintegrate himself and fuse himself into his own universe. It's clearly wrong to say that Hongmeng is dead because his universe is still operating and has sealed the door of chaos. We can't even enter, let alone void divine being. But it's not right to say that the Hongmeng isn't dead. After fusing with the universe and losing oneself, even though he'll always exist as long as his universe remains, is that still Hongmeng? Su Jingxing remained silent. Although it was unbelievable, there was no doubt that the Hongmeng they were talking about was the supreme big shot in the legends of Earth. The Hongmeng universe was the universe Su Jingxing was in before he transmigrated. Su Jingxing had always wondered why he suddenly transmigrated. Now that he thought about it, it was most likely related to Hongmeng. And the void divine being. If not for the void divine being's sneak attack, nothing would have happened to Hongmeng. He wouldn't have disintegrated himself and fused with the universe. In that case, it seems like I have the void divine being to thank. If not for the void divine being, I wouldn't have transmigrated, nor would I have my current achievements, right? Wait. There is something wrong with the connection involved here. Su Jingxing pondered. Therefore, if you want to see the Hongmeng, you have to go to the Hongmeng universe and meet him outside the universe, separated by the Chaos Sea, said Ming Shiwei with a smile. Alright, replied Su Jingxing. I'll go to the Hongmeng universe after I defeat the void divine being. After all, that was his former hometown. It was only right for him to make a trip back. Moreover, since this concerned the truth behind his transmigration, Su Jingxing had to get to the bottom of it. Huh? Ming Shiwei was stunned. You really plan to go? Hongmeng has already fused into his own universe. If you go, you'll only see the Hongmeng universe, not Hongmeng himself. I know. Su Jingxing smiled. It won't take much time to make a trip anyways. That's true. Time is nothing to you and me. Wan Xiu grinned and said, on the other hand, about the void divine being. You're not the only one who wants to defeat him. We want to too. Unfortunately, we lack restraining methods. We couldn't do anything to him and can only confront him here. That's right. Other than the void world, the void divine being's transcendent divine power also consists of black light, reverse life, and Ian Seal, Lan Tong said in a low voice. Other than the Ian Seal, which we can restrain and eliminate, we can only maintain resistance against the three others. No one can do anything to the other. Of course, most importantly, the void divine being also has helpers. Mo Gang, the medicine immortal, Ling Long, and Zhan Zhu have always been at odds with us and are helping the void divine being, Ming Shiwei continued. Then what exactly are the abilities of those three divine powers? Su Jingxing refused to give up. Or, what do we need to restrain them? The void world is easy to deal with, the law of destruction can restrain it. However, the ancestor of destruction has already been annihilated, and the hammer of destruction is damaged. We don't know where it is. It's with me. Before Fang Feiyun could finish, Su Jingxing extended his palm and released the hammer of destruction. The intact hammer of destruction. Xian Men, who had not spoken much, focused his gaze and asked in surprise, how did it suddenly recover? And you obtained it? The others also looked at Su Jingxing. Luck, I guess. Su Jingxing smiled. I happened to encounter it on my way here. I activated it with a shot of destructive power. Destruction power? Lan Tong's eyes flickered. My friend, you've comprehended the law of destruction. Are you from the primordial universe? I have indeed grasped the law of destruction. But what do you mean by the primordial universe? Su Jingxing was curious. It's the first universe, Ming Shiwei continued. The primordial universe is also called the first universe. It's the oldest universe born from the first evolution of the chaos. Other than the creatures of the chaos, the other races like the demons, the divine race, the stone race, the heavenly race, the spirit race, and so on were born in the primordial universe. Only in the primordial universe can one freely comprehend the various laws. In other universes, although destructive power exists, the law of destruction is blocked. The reason why the void divine being did everything it could to invade the primordial universe was to prevent itself from being restricted by all kinds of barriers. Wait. At this point, Ming Shiwei was suddenly shocked and said in shock, hasn't the void divine being been monitoring the primordial universe and refusing to allow the living beings in the universe to come out? How? Sigh, that goes without saying. Of course it's because of Little Su's detachment technique. Wan Xiu raised his hand and said dismissively, Little Su's freeing technique freed him directly from the primordial universe. It would be strange if the void divine being could discover him. Yes, I almost forgot. Ming Shiwei smiled awkwardly. Since you have the hammer of destruction, the void world is no longer a threat. Lan Tong continued, black light refers to the light of darkness. The void divine being can use it to constantly reverse the balance between darkness and light. Such power cannot be eliminated by pure yin-yang transcendent super-divine powers. It can only be resisted against. Well, I think I can suppress it too. Su Jingxing thought of the Eternal Day card and the Eternal Night card. Wouldn't unlocking them at the same time be able to restrain this black light? Ming Shiwei was surprised. Little Su, are you serious? It's true. Of course, I'm not totally confident. Su Jingxing didn't make it absolute. That's enough. Wan Xiu was overjoyed. As long as we can suppress it, we can still resolve the huge problem. Reverse life mainly refers to the fact that the void divine being cannot be destroyed. No matter how one shatters or breaks its universe, it can recover instantly. Lan Tong pondered for a moment and continued, if Hong Meng is here, his death seizing can restrain this ability. Su Jingxing's heart raced. Death seizing? It's a super divine power, a great Tao technique, that absorbs the various abilities of the other party from their corpse after death, Ming Shiwei explained. This isn't a coincidence. The relationship between my transmigration and Hong Meng is definitely not a coincidence. Death seizing? Isn't this my cheat ability? Extracting all kinds of function cards from corpses and unlocking them to obtain all kinds of benefits. For a moment, Su Jingxing fell silent. Ming Shiwei, Lan Tong, and the others thought that Su Jingxing had been dealt a blow. They immediately comforted him. My friend, you're already great. You can help us restrain. I also have this ability. Su Jingxing interrupted Lan Tong and said seriously, I also know the super divine power, great Tao technique, that you guys mentioned, death seizing. I can absorb the target's abilities from when they were alive from their corpses. Ming Shiwei, Fang Feiyun, Lan Tong, and Wan Xiu were speechless. The rest were also speechless. Silence. Instantly, everyone fell silent. After a moment of silence, everyone looked at Su Jingxing strangely. The hammer of destruction, death seizing, the ability to suppress black light. And his insistence on meeting Hong Meng. One would be a coincidence, but with the second and third, was it still a coincidence? They did not expose him. Wan Xiu, Ming Shiwei, Fang Feiyun, and the others were puzzled, but no one said anything. Su Jingxing knew what they were thinking, but he didn't expose them either. If they were suspecting him, so be it. Even Su Jingxing himself was having a headache, let alone them. However, he decided to put the verification aside for now. Getting rid of the void divine being was the most important. The void divine beings for super divine powers, void world, black light, reverse life, and Aeon seal. For the first three, Su Jingxing had relied on the Hammer of Destruction, the Eternal Day card, the Eternal Night card, and the cheat ability, Death Seizing, to restrain them respectively. Lan Tong and the others would take care of the remaining Aeon seal. Xian Men, Zai Ling, and the others would intercept the helpers of the void divine being. Therefore, nothing unexpected happened in the end. The void divine being, who had coveted the primordial universe for countless years, was quickly defeated. The two super divine powers, the void world and black light, were destroyed, and the Aeon seal could not be repaired in a short period of time. Reverse life escaped into the chaos with it. It was extremely difficult to completely kill an existence like the void divine being. Su Jingxing had already achieved his goal of defeating it and severely injuring it so that it could no longer covet the primordial universe. Ming Shiwei, Lan Tong, and the others were also extremely excited. Without the void divine being causing trouble, they also dispersed and no longer stayed at the end of the world for long. Likewise, Su Jingxing bade farewell to them one by one and headed for the Hongmeng universe. Hongmeng universe. The moment he walked out of the chaos and arrived at the edge of the universe, Su Jingxing telepathically passed through the borders. This border blocked the void divine being, Lan Tong, Ming Shiwei, and the other immortal existences. But at this moment, Su Jingxing was allowed to enter. Before we put this story to an end, I would like to thank and a big shout out to my loyal subscribers and viewers to this manhwa. Special shout out to at Polo G Top, at FixPro7680, at Anime_World_Iceguy, at Mr_Walker001, at Alok Singh YK6JP, at KPR7266, at Arup Kumar 5754. Thank you for your continued support, cheers. Now to continue. In less than 3 seconds after entering the universe, Su Jingxing received a message. A message from Hongmeng. Firstly, Su Jingxing's transmigration was indeed Hongmeng's doing. Secondly, Su Jingxing's cheat ability was indeed death seizing. Finally, Su Jingxing was not Hongmeng. Previously, with all the coincidences, Ming Shiwei, Lan Tong, and even Su Jingxing himself suspected that he was the reincarnation of Hongmeng or a manifestation of his will. However, after receiving Hongmeng's message, Su Jingxing realized that he was autonomous, and he was not Hongmeng. If it really had to be explained, then Su Jingxing was Hongmeng's disciple, or offspring. This was because Su Jingxing's soul consciousness was born in the Hongmeng universe. A living being that belonged to the Hongmeng universe before transmigration. All living beings in the Hongmeng universe were essentially descendants of the Hongmeng. Cough cough. In any case, Su Jingxing was relieved that he wasn't Hongmeng himself. Hongmeng had sent him to transmigrate with the intention of stopping the void divine being from invading the primordial universe. Now that Su Jingxing's mission had been successfully completed, he was completely relaxed. Since I've returned to the Hongmeng universe, shall I drop by my hometown on Earth on the way? This is the end of this story, thank you. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.